In this video, I will attempt the daunting task of breaking down every single reference, homage, and connection that Tarantino snuck into his latest film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've done this for a couple of his other films before, Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill Volume 1. Be sure to check those out, links are in the iCard or in the description, and go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the video. Since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is still a fairly recent film at the time I'm making this, that means that there's been far less written about it than the previous Tarantino films that I've done this for. But I have been as exhaustive in my research as I can at this point in time. Many of these homages are clear and even confirmed by Tarantino himself, or others involved with the production. Some homages are the result of speculation from other Tarantino fans, and some are homages that I've personally spotted and I haven't seen written about anywhere else, so exclusive. I've also ignored some rumored connections that you can find on IMDb and places like that I don't personally buy as intentional homages. There are quite a few listed homages that are just flat out inaccurate as well. Like, here's an example of one that I don't buy. 14 Fists of McCluskey being named after Officer McCluskey from The Godfather. I've seen that all over the place, but it seems like a stretch to me. Just a coincidence that Pacino was in this, I would think. I think it's far more likely that McCluskey is a nod to Gator McCluskey, the protagonist of White Lightning, a film that Tarantino has homaged more than once before.
Only two things in the world I'm scared of.
I'm scared of two things? What's that?
Women and the police.
Women and the police.
You spend all your time trying to hump them both, don't you?
Yeah.
Gator McCluskey was played by Burt Reynolds, who had a large influence on the film and was almost in it before he passed away. There's also a pub called McCluskey's and Ice Station Zebra, which has a big billboard visible in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I would also guess that the 14 Fists part comes from Kung Fu movies like Fists of Shaolin and the old Kung Fu movie trope of having a number in the title, like the 5 Deadly Venom, 5 Elements Ninjas, 36 Chamber of Shaolin, etc. Another reported connection that I don't buy is one on IMDb that says the line where Tex says, "I am the devil and I am here to do the devil's business," is an homage to The Devil's Rejects, where a similar line is said. Now, I get why someone might think that. There's some overlap with Tarantino and Rob Zombie, who made one of the fake trailers for Grindhouse, but this is not a legit homage. The line definitively does not come from The Devil's Rejects because it comes from what the real-life Tex Watson said before committing these crimes. If anything, that line in The Devil's Rejects might have come from the real-life Tex Watson as well. Tarantino's love and passion for not just filmmaking, but film history is well known and documented. He stuffs many, many references and homages into each of his films, and I'll take you through the film in chronological order and lay them all out. Oh, and I won't waste time breaking down the super obvious references, like when a movie is straight up shown on TV or mentioned by name or on a billboard or something like that. If you see an advertisement that has the film's name, I'm not going to waste your time saying what that is, because I think that's pretty clear. There's a lot of songs played over the radio and movies that are directly shown or heard. I'm only going to break down the noteworthy ones. Starting right off with the title. If you aren't familiar, the Once Upon a Time in naming convention has been used many times throughout cinematic history. Tarantino's buddy Robert Rodriguez even used it when he made Once Upon a Time in Mexico, the conclusion to his Mexico trilogy. Given that Tarantino is a huge Sergio Leone fan, it most likely comes from Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West, which he followed up with Once Upon a Time in America. I also wouldn't be surprised if Once Upon a Time in China had some influence as well, given Tarantino's love of kung fu flicks. Another Leone Western, sometimes called Duck You Sucker, sometimes called A Fistful of Dynamite, also had the alternate title Once Upon a Time, ... The Revolution. This is the Wilhelm scream. You've probably heard it before, even if you aren't familiar with the soundbite by name. It's an iconic sound that is used frequently not just by Tarantino, but by many filmmakers as an in-joke within the cinematic community. The film Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice helped to inspire the 60s atmosphere and inspired Rick's jacket. This giant art piece of Dalton's face in his driveway came from a visit that Tarantino took to Lee Van Cleef's house, where Cleef had one of himself. The face on Rick's mug is Hopalong Cassidy. Tarantino has described Rick Dalton as an amalgamation of many different old Hollywood actors, such as Ty Hardin, William Shatner, and Ed Burns. Not the same Ed Burns who wrote On the Wire. Cliff Booth, on the other hand, was largely inspired by the titular Billy Jack and actor-director Tom Laughlin.
I'm gonna take this right foot, and I'm gonna whop you on that side of your face. And you wanna know something? There's not a damn thing you're gonna be able to do about it.
Really?
Really?
There are other sources of inspiration as well, of course, such as B-movie stuntman Gary Kent. The jump cutting during the scene where Polanski and Tate drive to the Playboy Mansion is a reference to Breathless, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen this one written about, but Tarantino has had many Godard references in his films before, and this jump cutting is quite similar to the scene in Breathless, which in many ways pioneered the jump cut technique. This part of the airport matches the opening credits of Jackie Brown.
This man is worth $500. And this man's going to collect. He's Jake Cahill, and he lives by Bounty Law.
Bounty Law is a counterpoint to Wanted Dead or Alive, the old western starring Steve McQueen, who is in the movie. In The 14 Fists of McCluskey, I think DiCaprio wearing an eye patch in this World War II film might be a reference to Valkyrie, the World War II film where Tom Cruise wore an eye patch, that came out at the same time as Tarantino's own World War II film Inglourious Basterds. Many of the Rick Dalton posters are mock-ups of real posters, like this one for Tanner, which resembles one of the posters from the 1958 film Gunman's Walk. There are so many other Rick Dalton films and shows mentioned and posters shown, and most parallel a real film or show. Tanner is named after a character from Sam Peckinpah's The Osterman Weekend. The Grindhouse theme tune plays as Cliff drives by. This was, of course, in Grindhouse and also in Kill Bill. Dr. Saperstein is not just the name of Polanski's dog, but it's also the name of the doctor in Rosemary's Baby. Polanski's frilly jacket matches Django's frilly jacket, which also matches the Austin Powers jacket, and the designer at least considers it a reference to the Little Boy Blue painting.
Caleb Deca, too.
Thought it was pronounced Caleb Dakota.
I'd be delighted, Monsieur de Cocteau.
When he's in Wanamaker's Western, DiCaprio gets called Monsieur de Cocteau, like Monsieur Candide.
Monsieur Candide.
Trudy Frazier is likely based on child actor Margaret O'Brien. Lancer was a real TV show, and Johnny Madrid really was played by James Stacey. Sam Wanamaker really was the director as well. It's all real. The same saloon set was used in Django Unchained. James Stacey drawing his revolver matches a shot from Guns of the Magnificent Seven. This freakout in the trailer with improv is executed kind of like the opening motel room freakout from Apocalypse Now. The trailer playing at the drive-in is for the Peter Bogdanovich film Targets.
A typical American family at dinner. Mom and Dad, their beautiful daughter-in-law, and their only son, Joe, a homicidal maniac.
Cliff driving around the drive-in is reportedly an homage to White Heat, though I don't exactly see the similarity that others see beyond it being a similar location. The shots don't really match up to me.
Bought me an acid-dipped cigarette today.
The acid-dipped cigarette came from the 1968 documentary Revolution.
Rick and Cliff went to the Valley Mexican restaurant landmark Casa Vega on Ventura.
The Casa Vega restaurant might have been chosen as a little nod to the Vega brothers. In real life, a stuntman named Donald Shea, who worked at Spahn Ranch, was killed by the Manson family. Another stuntman who worked at Spahn Ranch and was involved in the Manson case is also referenced in the film. His name was Randy Starr, and it's visible during the sequence. Tarantino has said that the presentation of the Spahn Ranch sequence was inspired by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He also pulled inspiration from Robert Duvall's big scene in Apocalypse Now and decided to use dogs the way that the former used helicopters. Some people also draw a parallel between the dog use and another Sergio Leone reference. The movie Squeaky is watching on TV is Alfred Hitchcock's The Torn Curtain. It's no accident that Tarantino included the master of suspense in his film's most suspenseful scene. He of course used the score to Torn Curtain as well, and music is also used from the scores of Have Gun Will Travel, Sartana Does Not Forgive, Apocalypse Joe, Gas, The Strawberry Statement, The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, Danger Diabolique, The Hard Ride, Cattle Annie and Little Britches, Any Gun Can Play, Against a Crooked Sky, Hell River, and Dynamite Jim. The diegetic use of music through radios isn't new to Tarantino. Reservoir Dogs makes excellent use of diegetic music as well, but this time around the use of in-scene radios for soundtrack purposes was influenced specifically by American Graffiti. Before Bruce Dern replaced him, this role was intended for Burt Reynolds, fitting given that he has a more personal connection to stunt work. He passed away before filming, but Burt Reynolds did still get a little influence into the film. This line,
"You know you're kinda pretty for a stuntman,"
came from Burt Reynolds during a table read while the film was still in pre-production. Burt Reynolds was also the actual actor in the guest spot of the FBI episode that Rick Dalton was edited into. The same actor, Damon Herriman, was also cast as Charles Manson in the second season of Mindhunter at the same time. That's some pretty specific typecasting.
Operazione Dynamite, directed by Antonio Margheriti.
Antonio Margheriti, the man behind the spaghetti westerns that Dalton heads off to Italy to star in, is also the fake name used by Eli Roth's character in Inglourious Basterds.
Antonio Margheriti.
Ancora?
Margheriti.
Un'altra volta, ma adesso vorrei proprio sentire la musica delle parole.
Margheriti.
Beyond that, however, Antonio Margheriti was a real Italian filmmaker. Kurt Russell and Zoe Bell play a pair of stunt people. They also both played stunt people in Tarantino's Death Proof. Zoe Bell, of course, is a real-life stunt performer too, and it was in that capacity that she first worked with Tarantino as Uma Thurman's stunt double in Kill Bill. There's a poster for The Mercenary at the movie theater. The Mercenary starred Franco Nero, who of course starred as the original Django, and he had a cameo in Django Unchained. The Mercenary is a film that Tarantino has actually homaged before as well. The billboard outside the Pantages Theater announces the movie 3 in the Attic, starring Yvette Mimieux. This is the same last name used by Shoshana Dreyfus as her alias as the theater owner, Emmanuel, in Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. The guy on the cover of this TV guide is Andrew Duggan, who played Murdoch Lancer on the Real Lancer TV show. The hippie named Butterfly is a callback to Death Proof, which also had a character named Butterfly.
Hey! Dennis Hopper! Move this fucking piece of shit!
Is an Easy Rider reference, which came out the same year Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is set, so Rick is being super topical. One of Rick's Italian films, Operazione Dynamite, uses footage from the 1967 film Death on the Run. Operazione Dynamite also pulls inspiration from Secret Agent Super Dragon. Another film that footage is used from is Navajo Joe from 1966. When Tex says this line,
"Okay, pig killers, let's kill some piggies,"
he's making use of a dialogue convention that Tarantino has used many times.
All right, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Bashing the Manson girl's face off of a fireplace mantle, I'm pretty sure is a reference to Argento's Deep Red.
What's going on at the Dirty Movie Place?
Well, they're having a premiere.
Dirty movies have premieres?
Yeah, they're fun.
The adult theater having a premiere for a dirty movie is now the New Beverly, which is a theater that Tarantino owns. Sharon Tate is picking up Tess of the D'Urbervilles in this scene. In real life, she gave this book to Roman Polanski shortly before her death and mentioned that he should make a film adaptation with her as the lead. He eventually did make this film adaptation, and he dedicated it to her memory. This outfit that Sharon Tate wears, the black and white one, comes from the costume she wore in Eye of the Devil. This Cadillac is the same one used in Reservoir Dogs, and it belongs to Michael Madsen. It's his personal car. This Tarantino-themed issue of Mad Magazine was actually published. It was produced as a tie-in with the film. The Maltese Falcon statue in this scene is not a replica. It's the real Maltese Falcon MacGuffin from the 1941 film Noir. Steve McQueen was high up on the real Charles Manson's kill list, and he really was friends with Sharon Tate. But the Mamas and the Papas are present in this party. A cover of one of their songs is used in the film, along with their own music, which was used in one of the trailers. And finally, in the end credits sting, Rick Dalton says this line.
"Take a bite and feel all right."
This line was a cut line from all the way back in the From Dusk Till Dawn screenplay. In that script, it is said by one Seth Gecko. And of course, Red Apple Cigarettes is in all of Tarantino's movies. I don't think I need to explain that one. Those were all the references and homages that I was able to dig up through research, plus the new ones I spotted myself, minus the ones I found online that I think are BS. Thanks for watching. Check out the homage breakdowns I did for Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill Volume 1, and subscribe to this channel for more content. Let me know if you want this type of video for Tarantino's other films, or even other filmmakers, because Tarantino has a reputation for doing homages, because he's very public about it, but most directors put in tons of homages, so if you want to see me break down all the homages in something like John Wick or any other film, let me know, because I can do that too. So subscribe to this channel, share it around if you enjoyed it.